read in chapter 3, first verses, get all they come Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold whose height was 30 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar the king soon gathered together the princes, the governors, and the captains of the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the lords of the province come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king set up. The princes, the governors, and the captains, the judges, and the treasurers, the counselors, and the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the province were gathered together unto the dedication of the image of Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up, and they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar set up. Then a terrible cry aloud. To you it is commanded of O people, nations, and that as what ye hear the sound of the Lord that the float part and the slab, the holy certain tree, and all kinds of music. Ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. Whoso falls not down and worship shall the same hour be cast into the burning furnace. Therefore, at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the Lord and the Lord, so but also the tree and all kinds of the music, all the nations and the languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that the king had set up. Wherefore at the time, certain Chaldeans came here and accused the Jews. They spoke and said unto the Jews, wherever thou, O king, hath made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet shall put all kinds of opposing, all shall fall down and worship the golden image. So fall not down and worship, that he should be cast into the midst of the burning furnace. There are certain Jews who thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, these men who king have not regarded thee. They serve the not thy God and worship the golden image which thou hast set up in Nebuchadnezzar. In this invasion and period, they bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said unto them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you serve the Lord, worship the image? Now, if ye be ready, that what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harps, flute, orchestra, the keys, all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image I have made. Well, but ye worship not, shall be cast the same hour in the midst of the burning period, burning. The food of thy God shall deliver you out of my hand. Shall there be shame of any go unto me, said the king. Oh, whether we are not careful to answer thee in this matter, if he so our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning furnace, he will deliver us out of the kingdom. But if not, then yet not unto the king that we shall not serve thy gods and worship the golden image which thou hast set up. It was visit was changed. Every second video learned. Each make them, they were named in that. Changed the picture of furnace 17 times more than it was need to be. Then he commanded the most mighty men which were in his army to bend Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and cast them into the burning furnace. Then these men were found in their coats and their hats and their other garments and were cast into the midst of the burning furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent and the furnace exceeding hot, and the flame of the fire sweet and put them back. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down in the midst of the burning furnace. And Nebuchadnezzar was astonished and rose up in haste and told unto his answers, did not cast three down in the midst of the fire? And they answered and said unto the king, true, O king. And he answered and said, no, I say, sure, man, look to you. And these witnesses walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt in the form of the mortals, by the Son of God, in Nebuchadnezzar came here in the mouth of the very furnace of furnace, saying, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, where the coat hangs the door, smell of fire passed on them. Then Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said, who is the God? His angel delivered his servants. Therefore I have made free at every inclination among you which spoke to me anything from this and this love of these things. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be delivered. Is no after this sword, Shadrach, Meshach, and
Lord, help our hearts and our ears to hear, remind us to know what thus said the Lord. God help us to do your word.
I was sitting over there reading because I had good notes. And I was sitting there thinking, it seems like everybody this week has went through a battle or had something going on. But something I have noticed from about just about everybody in here, there's been a praise upon everybody's lips, Brother Chad. And you know, I'm thankful whenever they said, what's it day 3 we seen in there? He said, I see a fourth one in there. I'm thankful that whenever I'm going through a battle, that it's not just me in there, it's God. I'm thankful that when them old boys, I'm sure that there's a whole bunch of important people at this, where they was kind of giving worship, this go him, and everybody that counted was there. But they didn't realize the one that counted most wasn't going to have what they was going to fight to lose. And everybody may have fell down, but Meshach and Abednego, they didn't. They stood up for God. In this old world, it's all about making noise and doing this or that. But there was 2 men that stood on business, and or 3 that stood on business, and I'm sitting there, and I think now that we've got a couple that's standing on business now. And this old world, there's getting fewer and fewer of us, Brother Chad. And this old world is just getting consumed by evil and evil every day. And it kind of puts me in mind of this time. And that old fire, or that old fury furnace, that probably looked scary to them. But they had faith. They knew that God was going to take care of them. And they got out there in that furnace with them, Brother Chad. And it talks about there was no smell or anything of their coats with them being in that fire. Nothing harmful. They was not harmed to me. And that took faith right there. I'm thankful, Brother Chad, for the God that will go in the fire with us. He don't just expect us to go in there by ourselves. He don't expect us to go through anything by ourselves. And I was praying about something. I was praying that the Lord would, if He didn't want that He would close the door on it. And it's something we always say, you gotta, because if you pray for something and you're sincere about it, it's the right thing, He'll give it to you. And I don't believe if you're going through something or a door opens and if it takes you away from God, I don't believe He wants you to do it. Because why would He want you to do something that will take you away from Him? And I've experienced that here lately. I accepted something that was taking me away from God, and He took it from me.
Yeah.
He just took her when it's gonna be. I wasn't expecting it. He just because I prayed it and I was like, I know He'll open something up, but I wasn't expecting it to be that fast. And there's some things that happen and I was worrying myself to death. I'm talking about I'll be like, and I know we shouldn't worry, but it's human nature. But I'm thankful that God gives you the peace whenever you need it.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing like having the peace of God when you're going through something. And I can't help but think, me Shadrach and Abednego, I can't help but think that they may have been a little bit scared. But I believe God give them peace.
Yeah.
Because if you're going through something like that, they was facing what looked like automatic death. And God said, if they're going to stand for me, I'm going to stand with them. And when you stand with God, He's going to stand for you. It don't matter if it's big or small or what it is, He's going to stand for you. As long as you stand with what's firm and what's on the rock, you're going to be just fine. But it seems like we got too many people. They're changing their life to fit this old world. And I'm not going to change. I don't want to change anything. That's not God don't want me to change, because if you change for this old world, you're going to be sent to hell. I don't want to be a villain to this old world. I want them when they see me or they see any of us, I want them to say they're different. They're peculiar people. They're not of this world. We have to live in this world, but we don't have to be of it. And we got too many people that are like, I'll just play in this old world for a little while. And then that old sleeper gets them. He wants to get you to where you're comfortable, and then he bites you. And then you get that old poison of sin in you, and then you got to go back to Jesus to get it out. I'm thankful for people like Daniel, and they stood whenever when all the odds was against them. And I want to be more like Daniel now. They stood when everything said that you're going to die, but I believe they was ready to die, Brother Chad. Standing because they didn't want to get down and worship that. Because if they was worshiping that, they would have been denying the God that they served. And look what it got them. It got them where they can serve God freely. And sometimes it just takes us standing up for what we believe in, and for God to get us what we're looking for. And we're never going to be truly free until we get to heaven. And I heard my Brother Kane talking about Moses. And all I can think about is how Moses, they got to the promised land. And I'm ready to make my promised land, Brother Chad. I can't wait to get there to get to the true promised land. We got it pretty good over here, but I just can't imagine how we're going to have it over there. And Daniel, they had a reason, they were surrounded by all their enemies. None of them, they want to worship foreign gods, and Daniel was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stand up for what's right. And sometimes standing for what's right, it's some of the hardest things you can do. Because it feels so much easier to go, well, I can just give a little and I can go over here for a little while. The ones that you die in that part of you giving in just a little bit. I don't want to give in to this old world. I don't want to give in to none of this sin. Because we may mess up sometimes, but all the people know that I fall down and I want to pray where I mess up. Because I don't want to be in this old world, because I've seen what it's done to my family, and I've seen what it's done to everybody else, and I can't get off the old image of how they had it set up, and they thought everybody was there that guy was up there saying, well, y'all hear all this, I've got to worship him. And I couldn't help but think the Meshach and Abednego, they was I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to. I'm going to stand up for God. And I want to be like them. I want to stand up for God. Even in the situations that it may seem like it's not in your favor to do something, but it's always worth standing up for God. Because when you stand up for Him, you wouldn't know there's always them little eyes watching you, that watch you not change. And I don't ever want to see anybody say, well, I was disappointed in you. You didn't do the right thing, I remember. You could have. I want to do the right thing every time. And you know, I know there's going to be times I mess up, and we're all, we all mess up. But I'm happy that there's a Father that comes and forgives us. And you know, He's a good Father. He's not going to leave us in the old pit where that old devil can get to us. And you know, we all wonder why our lives fall apart. We got to quit giving that old devil praise.
That's right.
You know, I may have all these problems, but I got a man that knows how to fix every one of them. I'm thankful that God can fix every one of our problems. It don't matter if I'm 200 miles away from home, away from my church, that He can still answer my prayers. In an old hotel room where He can tell me, son, I got you, son. Because, you know, I feel like lying in no lines then. You know, the Daniel was in there with all them lines. And you know, I can't help but think about that when you're around all these lost people. And they're talking this in your way, and it's trying to pierce your soul. And you just gotta walk away or something because you can't be a part of it. And you know, when you're a Christian, it hurts you to be a part of something like that. And work with people like that. And don't get in, no matter if you're trying to take your job or whatever it is, because God will find you a different one. If there's something you're having trouble standing with, just find faith in God. That's all I got.
Stand with us tonight. You got a song, we've got a song. You're here to seek that. Maybe you found that hardest thing with God. No matter what you're facing, no matter what you got going on,